Hello YouTube, my name is Christian Thornton and that was way more energetic than it needed to be, but this is my first YouTube video. Alright. Breathe. Okay, I'm ready. So, this is my DM tips video blog sort of thing where I'm just going to ramble on. Not ramble, that's not the right word. Where I'm going to discuss just different viewpoints I have on different things on how to make games run more efficiently while still feeling very robust. And so that leads to the first video, which I want to talk about, which is you don't need to plan your whole world. It's not that it's bad. It's just not helpful to you. You're a busy person. You have a job, you have school, you have family, you have kids, you have dogs, you have mother-in-laws. You have all these things that are vying for your time. The last thing you need to do when you're committing 4 hours to a game is to spend another 2, 3, 4 hours prepping the game. Spend as little time as you can possibly spend while still making it a good experience for you and the players. And so that's what I'm here to talk about. I think that Sly Flourish calls this the spiral method. I had a different term for it. I called it the skeleton method, or what I call the Skelly method, where I'll literally write Skelly and I'll have like these kind of bullet points. And so let's go over this. You don't want to start with your whole world. That takes a lot of time. I did that once before I started playing D&D. I spent about 6 months before I started playing, before I actually played. And during that time, I just world built and world built and world built. And most of it sucked because I was trying to hash it out too fast. And the other problem with it was it didn't get used. It was irrelevant. The creative process works better in increments. Designing one thing at a time very carefully, not going, let's just design everything. So let's give an example. When I start a world, I want to know the kingdom they're in, maybe a little bit of tidbits about the kingdom or a surrounding kingdom, but nothing major. I may just be like major city, major city, major city on a map, but you don't really need to know much about it. You just kind of need to know the culture of it and the culture of your area and what they kind of think about the kingdom. And I may know just if they're at war or if they may be at war, if there's anything close by they're kind of not happy about, because that will kind of permeate into their world space. Then I want to know the city, and I want to know this decently. I don't want to be like making every single shop. You gotta trust your intuition to make stuff up on the fly sometimes. And then from there, you can concrete it. You can write up about it once you know it exists. I'm not saying wing it all. Just have what you need and know you need. And there's going to be tidbits on the end to make sure that you are able to do that in your prep. So that's all I know. I don't even know the Pantheon unless a player wants to play a cleric, or if there's a major deity in the town. I may understand a little bit about the Pantheon, like where they came from or what kind of restrictions they have, but I don't really need to if there's not a Pantheon yet. And I'll let my players know that too. I'm like, hey, I'm starting here. This is what we have. This is what we have to work with. We're going to build this together, but I want to see where you're going first. So now that I know a little bit about the world, I also should, at this point, kind of have already predetermined what's the end goal of the campaign. And I say that in quotations because your players may go in a different direction, and you got to be okay with that. We're going to assume it's maybe something classic. You could have something like, oh, I don't know, a demon trying to subjugate the entire world, because that's never been done before. You could do it, and it's interesting. It's always fun, and they're going to do it in creative ways, like they're going to use artifacts like normal to trick humans into releasing them because they're bound to a separate plane. That's just classic D&D, right? And so you understand that. You don't need to know all the details. You just need to know there's a people doing this, and I'm going to need to introduce them at some point, and I need to find out who they are. Okay, cool. You'll get there when you get there. Just start small now. Everything else from now is small. Start with that city, flesh it out. You don't need all the shops. Just need to know an understanding about the city. What's significant there? Is there any people they may meet in the first few sessions or may hear about? So you probably need to know who's in charge or what kind of guards there are around, things like that. But you don't need to know everything. Go ahead and create this adventure, but you want to create this in a way that's not concrete, because your players may do something different. So you need to know the triggering event and make sure they have a good reason to go. Players do want that. You need to understand the end goal of it, and you may need to understand a few things in between, but everything else is kind of just there to help guide you and make sure you can create interesting choices. The players may or may not use those. They're not going to follow a linear path. They may go different directions. They may try different things. You need to be prepared to be unprepared for that and use your intuition to inform that. Okay, so for example, if the farmer's daughter at the festival gets kidnapped, because that's also never happened before, or maybe it's the son. Why's it got to be a damsel? Anyways, let's say that the farmer's daughter gets kidnapped, or son. They need a plot hook. Well, they're friends with the farmer. Or they're security guards for the festival that's happening and it's at the farmer's farm. Or they know the mayor. All three, they have valid reasons. Reputation for the mayor, it's their job if they're the guard, it's their friend if they know the farmer. Cool, got a plot hook. So you know she's been kidnapped and she's been taken to some island that's right off the shore. Okay, that's great. You might want to think of a few ways they could possibly get over there that may be interesting. It could be like, oh, you go over there, you find a boat. Or it may be like you go over there and you're standing there and you investigate, you find a guy that has the boat. And he's like, sure, I'll help you. And he goes and leads you to the boat only to see some sort of crime lord there who says that he owes him a debt. And there's a trade-off. If you go there to this island, there's some people there the guy wants to get removed. And if you do that, then he'll alleviate his debt. But if not, bad things may happen. Fill it in how you want to, but that just creates another layer of interesting choice. And also, it creates a threat. They can pursue that crime lord later if they want to go the evil route, or they can't. It's their choice. But now you have a touch point, right? We're not creating landing strips, we're creating touch points. The landing strip, actually there is a landing strip. It's the end of the adventure, but how they choose to land is up to them. If they want to come in skidding and slide off the runway into the grass, or if it's not a boat plane, but they're going to land it in the water, they're free to. That's non-constrictive. But they get to the island, and whether they kill this kidnapper or they find sympathy for him because they know he is being blackmailed, that's up to them. But the point is, you hold your cards loosely. You're going to jot down the notes. You're going to be farmers kidnapped. Create some details around the festival, of course. Create some details around the city that's going to be relevant to the campaign. Create the dungeon map. Right? Because in this island, let's say it's like buried underneath or something like that. But you don't need much details to run on. Prep as little as you need to and not a bit more. This is a movie, and the players and actors are the audience. And so, like a movie, when we watch, we're the audience. We only need to know the view of the camera. Everything outside of that, it's irrelevant. If you flip a video camera around on the set of a movie, you're going to see a whole bunch of guys back there eating donuts and sandwiches and being told to be quiet on the set. You only need to create the set, and everything past that is just maybe unnecessary at the time. In my world, there's a kingdom that's adjacent, and I still today know nothing about this. I've been running this world for 3 years now. And no one's gone over there, and so I know very little about it. I know their king, and I know their king has an issue with the border because of elves that are constantly raiding the lines, but there's a reason for that, which I won't spoil, but I don't need to know that. And so I'm not going to invest my time into that because it's a 4-hour game once or twice a month, or 4 times, once or twice for me. And you spend 4 hours on it anyways, running it, and you're going to spend an additional 2 to 3 hours preparing it. Expose what you need to expose. Start small, start with the city, work your way outward. Keep yourself in front of them only by 2 to 3 sessions, right? So, and as far as adventures go, create just that simple outline, right? And fill in the details as you go. You know the first 4 encounters. Okay, so there's more. Well, they change directions. All right, we can fill this out a little more because we know kind of where they're going. It's almost like Minecraft, where it's just loading the chunks in front of you. Same thing. So that's it. I hope I didn't ramble too much, and I hope it made sense, and I hope it was helpful. Hey folks, so this is Post-Edit Christian here, recording on my iPhone, so it's less quality. So I think I just hit the nail on the head because I think I did ramble some. And I do think I could have done a better job of explaining some of this content. And I think I'm going to publish this video, but I'm going to go back and we're going to fix some of that by expanding on it. So we're going to consider this a part 1. I'm not labeling it as that just yet, but we'll label this as a part 1 and go from there. So stay tuned. I want to get some more stuff out about this, and I want to kind of explain some of the concepts a little better and a little more thoroughly through example. Back to the show. If you like this video, I would love it if you liked it like you said you like it on the like button. Also, subscribe. I'm going to make more of these. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but it'll get better over time, hopefully. And if you have time, share this with your friends. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and just keep on keeping on and loving the game that we all love.